Hello and welcome back to What If, where we take a look at the alternate universe and Elseworld stories from both Marvel and DC Comics. Today we are going to finish the epic tale told in the pages of Marvel Universe The End. Thanos now has unlimited power and Akhenaten is no more. So, what will happen next? Let's get into it. Thanos had plunged into the heart of the universe and challenged the Almighty for dominance. He had achieved victory by sheer force of will, unchallenged though he was. It was his discovery that there was no divine guidance on the other side. Supreme power in the cosmos was nothing but limitless energy. His consciousness reached out to embrace the infinite, and he became one with all. He was everything and everyone at once. Because of this, he nearly became lost in his wonder, but he continued to expand until he saw the very DNA of the fabric of reality. It is here that the impartial laws of the heavens are written. Thanos realized it was all a dark cosmic joke. It took him microseconds to see the pattern of the universe, the order that holds off chaos and void. But he looked closer, realizing that not all was right with the universe. He watched as sections of the network had become twisted and perverted. The symmetry had been contaminated by aberrations from within. Thanos saw this and knew that it was the coming of the apocalypse. He could not allow this, yet try as he might, even with his vast powers, he could not undo the coming end. His meddling would only make things worse. The universe was doomed, and he could not save it. So engrossed was he in this struggle that he did not realize that forces in the universe were moving against him. The living tribunal was calling his allies to arms. Lord Thor of Asgard calls out to the heroes of the cosmos, calling them to aid him in his battle against Thanos. Yet Thanos was unaware of this gathering force, so distracted with his futile fight against a broken universe. Thanos realized that everything was balanced perfectly. The universe wasn't always broken. This balance had been upset when the certainty of death was no more. When Simon Williams became Wonder Man, the villain turned Avenger. He died fighting, but eventually he would be resurrected by a mysterious cosmic force. The force sought to balance the light against the gathering dark, but this broke the seal. Evil became so strong that heroes were resurrected again and again. This balance of good and evil set askew the balance between life and death. What was pure was now contaminated. The framework of the cosmos was so broken that not even the almighty Thanos, with the power of the heart of the universe, could fix it. The Mad Titan, defeated once again, resigned to his old farm to think on the matter. He sat on his front step pondering, until the solution dawned on him. He would restart the universe. It was so simple. Begin again! But his plans were interrupted. "Hello, usurper. I come to demand you relinquish the supreme power you stole," Eternity demands. Thanos looks up, explaining to the cosmic power that he is the only hope for the survival of the universe, but Eternity continues to demand that he give up this power. "And give it to you, to only make an impossible situation worse? I think not," Thanos scoffs. He asks if Eternity senses that he is everything the Almighty was. "Did you ever demand anything of him?" Thanos asks. He does not demand worship. He only demands respect. But Eternity looks at him, telling him that such blasphemy can only be met with total annihilation. And suddenly, a cosmic blast erupts from the being's hand, hitting Thanos and destroying the planet around him. "So ends this insanity," Eternity whispers as he watches the planet drift away. Yet he is suddenly grasped by a massive hand. "Hardly," Thanos laughs. He looks down at the personification of time and with only a word, destroys him. Thanos turns, seeing the massive being known as the Living Tribunal standing before him. The Tribunal tells the Titan that he has been judged and found unworthy of the power he has stolen. Thanos once again refuses to give up his power, so the Living Tribunal attacks with the sheer force of the heroes of the cosmos. Thanos realizes their plan. They will try to overwhelm him with sheer numbers. A pathetic attempt hardly worth his time, but still, it enraged him. "You would challenge the heavens so brazenly? So be it. Let there be war!" he snarls. The heroes attacked en masse, yet it was nothing compared to Thanos' new power. His simplest gesture was devastation, and his words thundered throughout the cosmos. With a simple motion, one of the indestructible Celestials fell. The mightiest of the cosmos launched a desperate attack, but it was nothing to Thanos, simply a cosmic spectacle. This affront, though useless, continued to incite rage within Thanos. That these children would deem to defy this supreme being. He was overcome by blind rage and began to absorb those that defied him. Some tried to fight it, but this only fueled his rage further. Moments pass, and it was over. He had absorbed anything that could threaten his reign. Nothing remained. Thanos stood in the void. His anger abated, and he savored the sweet silence of oblivion. When he realized what he had done, he lamented. He had been tricked by the All-Knowing. He was always meant to reach this point, alone, with nothing. Suddenly, a mystic portal opens, and through it steps Adam Warlock. "Only you could miss the end of the universe," Thanos scoffs. Warlock questions what happened, and Thanos retells the tale of the end. "Only you and I remain," Thanos finishes. Adam Warlock begins to speak to Thanos. He has always been part of, yet outside, the universe. He explains to him that the void is not enough for Thanos, and that only he can restart the universe. He explains to him that he suspects the void is not enough for Thanos, and that only he can restart the universe. In the process, martyring himself and his power. But the Titan glares at him, telling the hero that he is not willing to pay this price for what Warlock is suggesting. Yet Warlock explains that they were always supposed to reach this point, that Thanos had in fact saved the universe by bringing it to its end. It was broken, and now it must be restarted. Thanos was tricked as much by himself as he was by the Almighty. And finally, Thanos realizes that the hero is right. It is the only way. Thanos explains, however, that death must now that death must now be permanent. Should a hero fall, should anyone fall, there will be no resurrections. Another will have to take their place, for the very fabric of reality depends on this law. Thanos turns back to Warlock, explaining that he has one regret in this world. Adam Warlock nods. He reveals that there was another being that Thanos missed in his destruction of everything. They turn, seeing the cloaked figure of death standing before them. The skull beneath her hood is slowly replaced by the face of a beautiful woman. "Thank you, my dearest," she says simply. Thanos is stunned that she spoke to him directly, and more shocked when she leans in and kisses him. "Farewell, my love," he whispers as Death walks off into the darkness. With this done, Thanos removes his helmet. He tells Adam Warlock to step back and begins to use his powers. "How ironic that in the end, what Thanos of Titan did best was be a healer," he whispers. In the blink of an eye, the universe returns to its full glory and scope. The icons of eternity and time return to their stations and once again balanced the cosmic scales. Heroes return to their lives, with no memories of the end, nor of Thanos' final great sacrifice. And Adam Warlock, remembering what just transpired, looks around Thanos' farm. He knew that the Titan was searching for power, and that if he had gained this prize, it would not be what he thought. He knew that someone would pay the price for this, but no one could have guessed it would be Thanos himself. And there you have it, the conclusion to Marvel Universe: The End. I personally think this book is interesting. It's definitely not something that we haven't seen before or since its release, but it does have some weird inclusions like Akhenaten and the like. I do want to briefly talk about the state of this book in canon. Here at What If, our sort of one rule is that we do stories that fall outside of the main universes of Marvel and DC, and even then, we prefer stories that very rarely cross over with the main universes. So, like Spider-Gwen stuff, that technically is in an alternate universe, but she pals around in the main universe all the time, so that's not really our jurisdiction. That being said, this book theoretically could be canon to the Marvel Universe as we know it today, but it's really up in the air. I mean, it does end with Thanos putting everything back to normal, and I did hear that Jim Starlin's intention with this book was to kill Thanos and revive Death in comics, resetting the status quo of Death, mattering, and heroes not being resurrected every 2 years. But that obviously didn't last, and I couldn't find any source of Starlin talking about that specifically, so who knows? This book came out in 2003, so if there is an interview with Jim Starlin talking about that, I couldn't find it. Let me know if you have anything or any information on that. I just wanted to mention that specifically since this is kind of a fringe case where we did a book that isn't exactly a what-if story, but it does still mostly fall under the category that those stories do. Regardless, it was a fun ride. Next time we should be covering either a DC story or another quick Marvel what-if, so strap in for that. I'm not exactly sure where we're going, just stay tuned. Before you head out though, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Comicstorian to get videos like these early and much more. That all being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time.